Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. Today's episode, you guys are going to be in for a treat. We are talking about elevating your client's experience. I have with me Jena from Beam Wellness. Welcome, Jena.
Thank you so much, Heidi. I'm so excited to be here with you today and talk more about elevating clients' experience.
Heck yeah. And one of the things that I saw that you guys actually have a red light blanket. Now, this is exciting, but we're going to hop into that in just a minute, you guys. Now, if you are listening and you're like, who is Jena? What is Beam Wellness? What's a red light blanket? Can you go into a little bit about yourself and the company and possibly even touch over just what the red light blanket is?
Oh, of course, my favorite topics. Well, my name's Gina, and I share a passion. We share a passion, and it's medical aesthetics. It's the wellness experience. It's rejuvenation as a passion and a mission. And really, Beam, my business was born out of that. It started with a red light therapy blanket, which is a blanket with 1,872 red and infrared LEDs. We chose a specific wavelengths, which is 660 red and then 850, which is infrared. We chose those two wavelengths because of the plethora of peer-reviewed scientific literature surrounding these two. So they're the most impactful and the most well-studied, and we put that technology into a blanket so you can just sit on your couch, sit on your bed, or lay on your treatment bed and be exposed to the rejuvenating benefits of red light therapy. We also have a suite of other exciting light therapy wellness tools, but our flagship product and my most proud innovation has been the red light therapy beam blanket.
That's amazing. I think this is a great topic because everybody's always looking to elevate their client's experience in some way, right? Like, I'm
Right.
always preaching in my coaching business, like, be unique. How are ways that you're wowing your clients to come back more than just the service itself, right? Because we really do want the client to remember their experience, right? I'm always talking about share about your experience. Have your clients share what they can about what they experience and not just the service itself. So I think this is great because you can really tailor this in to a service and elevate that experience just a little further without really having to add something to the treatment that's going to take forever. So like timing wise, because, I think that's a big one to think about is like, if client wants to get in and out for something, they don't want any extra time added to their service for something that maybe they could benefit from, right? And so sometimes we have to look at it from that lens. Like if you're listening, you're like, yeah, I don't really want to add any time to my things. This is perfect because let's say, if you're listening and you're an esthetician and you do facials, how would the red light blanket be used in a facial?
Right. The red light therapy, the beam blanket is meant to integrate seamlessly into the treatment room. So when a client comes in, instead of being wrapped in a robe or covered in a quilt or a sheet, they would be draped in the beam blanket. And it's as simple as turning the blanket on and going about the regular facial process. So it's designed to not impede the esthetician's current operations, but elevate it. And it's easy to sanitize. The clients always express how soothing it's feeling, how warm it's feeling, and it's also quite the spectacle. I mean, you walk into the room, a dimly lit room, and the bed is glowing red. And that's one of my favorite things to see is our providers sharing pictures and videos, marketing themselves, their spas and their services on social media. I feel like it really elevates their in-spa experience, but also their social media presence and their marketing strategy, which is also a cornerstone of esthetician success.
Yes. Now, when you said that, I heard social media, social media, social media. So if you're listening, you're like, "Ooh, this is a really good social media grabber." I heard that too. I heard all of the things like, but I'm kind of excited with how easy it is to clean actually. When you said that too, I was like, okay, is this going to be something that we have to really put a lot of time, effort, all the things into? And it's as easy as just wiping it down from what I heard.
Right. We have two recommended sanitation methods. The first one is wiping it down, like they wipe the bed with a cavi wipe or some other non-abrasive sanitary solution, and then wipe the blanket, let the blanket dry for a few minutes, and then you're ready to go. There's also a second option, which other providers like, which is having a thin white sheet, a flat white sheet, and having that lay between the client and the blanket and just laundering between customers, which is often a part of their bedding, I guess, a procedure anyways. So either of those two methods will work.
So the beam goes through the sheet. I love that part too, because that probably is a different way for people. Because I'm sure, let's say, like clients come in and they're a little hesitant on it, where let's kind of dive into. I know you talked about this in the beginning, but let's dive into how it actually works. So you said
Yes.
obviously it's LED, it's, all the things. Maybe go into a little blip about the actual like workings of it so people can know when, hey, I can tell my client it's safe, it's effective. I mean, most people understand light therapy nowadays, but what if you had a client that didn't and the service provider needs a quick little synopsis?
Okay, yes, this is my favorite topic actually. So the technical term for light therapy is called photobiomodulation. And so this means light at some wavelength from some energy source, the photons. In our case, it's an LED. So the photons, the energy is leaving the LED, it's penetrating your tissue, and through a series of energy exchanges, it's stimulating the mitochondria. This is what's hypothesized in scientific research. And the mitochondria it's the powerhouse of the cell. It's like, good job for everyone who remembers that from middle school biology. But so the mitochondria is working harder, your cells are working more efficiently. And because of this cellular process, scientists hypothesize that all these benefits are seen. So it supports reduced inflammation, it supports accelerated wound healing, it supports enhanced muscle recovery. And then, of course, you have your skin tone, texture improvement, enhancing elasticity, collagen production. So beyond just the skin and the beauty part of this, light therapy does penetrate and actually have, some systematic biological effect on your body. And so for our blanket in particular, we just dove down deep into the science because our leadership team wanted to be able to understand it like almost at a scientific level. None of us are doctors; we only have doctor advisors. But it's so light therapy is calculated in a dose, and its energy density, the joules per centimeter squared, it equals the power density times time. So how intense the light is and how long you're under it, and that equals your dose. And so we look to the literature and we take all the doses that are seen in scientific literature. And so for our beam blanket at the highest power for 30 minutes, which is what it'll automatically come on in setting, you get a dose of 20.7 joules per centimeter squared, which it has a lot of different biological effects seen in peer-reviewed literature. So that's how we think of the technology in a technical sense. But then there's also the feedback sense. And what we hear from our spa partners is that people will be laying under the blanket and they're feeling relaxed. Their muscles are feeling warm. They're feeling refreshed, rejuvenated. And and so that's kind of the two sides of this coin. And that's in spa experience. But then also light therapy, per the peer-reviewed literature, the benefits are seen with daily or consistent use. So that's where the in-spa exposure is phenomenal, but you can also educate the customer and say, this is a daily practice. You should work this into your routine to see those long sought after benefits.
So what I'm hearing is if a service provider buys this blanket from Beam Wellness, can we also start selling the Beam blankets to our clients?
Oh, absolutely. And we love nothing more than our partners. We love educating our partners, becoming best friends with our partners. We have a commission affiliate program that requires no upfront inventory purchase. And we also have wholesale options because this is really our mission at Beam is to share and educate the the world on the benefits of light therapy and make it more a commonplace for people to use this in their daily practice. So
I love
we
that.
absolutely love working with our partners.
I love that because, everything we do in the treatment room, it really needs to be transferred at home most often, right? We have,
Right.
because the at home care is really where it's at, right? I mean, we all know, like, yes, you're going to get great results from doing things in the treatment room. Your clients are going to notice that, but really the at home is really where it's at. So I love that you guys offer that. And I love that you guys actually like work with that, because thinking of a service provider, thinking from our side of like, we need to be able to transfer that experience all around. And so that client can really get all of the benefits from it. I love this. If you're listening and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. It's going to add so much value to not only yourself, because guess what? You can lay underneath that blanket between your clients, get
That's
all the
right.
benefits, right? But then your
That's
clients are
right.
really going to notice those elevated results. I mean, she really went over a lot of things, but I'm hearing like anti-aging, I'm hearing, rejuvenation, I'm hearing, renewal of cells. There's all sorts of different things that we can really take away from this. So, especially if your clients are coming in and they're coming in for like an anti-aging facial, or if they're coming in even for a quick brow treatment, I could see this being used, right? I mean, there's really
Right.
the depth of this that you can use inside of your treatment room is huge. I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah. And there's also a revenue opportunity with our beam blanket. We've seen providers charge anything from $25 to $100 per session as an add-on red light therapy body service. So some of our providers look at the beam blanket as a revenue generating asset.
I was just going to talk on that too, because I was like, this is definitely something that I would charge for, because it does add to the experience. And so it's really looked at as maybe an add-on, but I'm sure if you wanted to add it into your cost as well, you could do it that way, right? Like,
Absolutely.
you know, doing those packages and things like that where the client just doesn't know that's an add-on cost, that's great too. So any type of business model, whatever people are comfortable with, like that's really entirely up to you guys, but it is going to give your client results. It's going to bring that client back in because you're doing something that's a little different than maybe, somebody else that's not having this blanket on deck.
Right.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that you guys offer other products. Can we just like lightly touch over those products? Because now that we talked about the blanket, I'm like, we need to learn more.
Mhm. Yes, of course. So in our light therapy vertical, we also have a face, neck, and chest mask. We're different than our competitors because instead of having one wavelength in one mask, we have four in one mask. So we have red, blue, yellow, and infrared. The blue is good for stopping, sterilizing acne-causing bacteria underneath the skin. The red and infrared are good for rejuvenation, and the yellow is kind of a wavelength on the come up. So there's more resources being injected into studying this wavelength, but it's good for post-procedure, calming the skin, reducing redness. So we're excited about our mask. It's portable, flexible, comes with a rechargeable remote, so you can glow on the go, beam anywhere. And we love our mask. We also have a suite of handheld tools, a facial roller, an extraction device, and a scalp device that has red light therapy, microcurrent, oil or serum extruding diodes. So it's like a ballpoint pen that extrudes serum or oil onto your scalp where it matters instead of having it all over your hair. And so it's kind of a trifecta of technologies for the scalp. And we're also adding new products. We have like 6 new products in the pipeline that we're about to launch. And so we're always looking for the newest, most innovative, cool
Yeah,
technologies and
I
leading the
love that.
charge as our beam blanket.
Yeah. Well, and having a company like yourself, like I feel like Beam Wellness is one of those companies that is not only going to take care of the one thing that maybe you purchase, but yeah, you guys are going to have everything that a person would want inside their treatment room or even outside the treatment room. I mean, I could easily, like you were mentioning earlier, easily seeing this just being part of your business, like
Right.
in its entirety, and then having all of the products being used differently, right? Because all of those products people can use at home, you can use in the treatment room. I mean, they're so versatile that it's like, how are we going to go wrong here?
Right. And that's exactly our vision, Heidi. We want to be the back bar for wellness devices. We want to have partnerships with estheticians, and we want those partnerships to be deep. We provide marketing materials, content, educational resources. I mean, we just posted this light therapy dosing review, which is a deep dive into the science behind this technology. And and that's exactly it. We love Beam to be a part of the spas and their ecosystem.
Yeah. And I like that you guys offer a little bit of training or some educational content that comes with it, because I do feel like that is something that is kind of missing sometimes when you buy from companies. And, these companies, it's just something that we could really benefit from in the treatment room and really benefit from in our businesses, because we're busy. And so we're not trying to go on the internet and search all the Google searches for all the information. We want to have that come from you guys. We want to, like I was saying earlier, like I want to know the general short synopsis of what to tell my client. I want to take that guesswork out of that part of it, because adding in a treatment or even adding in a new service, adding in a new product, all of the above, it can be really overwhelming, especially for new business owners. And so I think that's amazing. And it sounds like you guys have great support too, because if you guys are worried about, the education piece and you guys are like, yeah, this is definitely something we want to focus on, then it sounds to me like you guys are supportive throughout the whole process. And so I really like to hear that.
Yeah, to your point, education is a huge part of an esthetician or a service provider's really job, because as you know, there's all this influx of innovation, innovative products, new technology. And as the credible professional, you have to onboard that information and then share it with your customers. And I kind of skipped over my background, but I come from marketing and medical aesthetics. I worked for a national med spa chain before jumping off and doing Beam. And we were always trying to figure out, okay, how do we market the hydrofacial red light therapy add-on when it was just a little pad? How do we add the CBD add-on? How do we market it? So when CBD was just coming out and it was like a crazy thing. And so providers, it's hard to have to collect all that information and then share it with the customer. So that's something we try to do well and provide support along the way. And we have seen that the more the clients are educated, the more they'll be open to adopting this new, I guess, way of life or habit.
Yeah. And especially when they start seeing results, they're gonna be like, okay, there's something to this, you guys.
Right.
Now, luckily for you guys, there is a lot of information, a lot of things out there about red light therapy or about just light therapy in general. So I feel like
Right.
it's not a new conversation as much anymore, which is good. Okay, you guys, I'm telling this as a good thing, because your client is going to already have that in their brain. They're already going to be like, oh yeah, I've seen somebody else with this. But this is, you're going to tell them the reasons why your specific offering is great and things like that. So do you guys have like posters, shelf talkers, like those kind of things to have in the treatment room as well?
We do. We have
Okay.
brochures. We also have a banner, a small banner, and then we're in the process of designing a lookbook, which is really an educational component. It's like a coffee table book that they can have in their waiting room that talks about light therapy, the history, and it has a fascinating history. Just quickly, they started using it on the International Space Station in space. Started with NASA growing plants and healing the wounds of astronauts. So it has a really interesting background. Um, but
That's
yes, we,
wild.
we like to support their in-spa marketing any way we can.
Yeah. And that all helps you guys. So if you're new and you're listening and you're like, I don't even know what to say sometimes, and you're fumbling over your words, you'd be surprised of how much those like posters, those shelf talkers, those things that you can have on your retail shelves. If you don't know what a shelf talker is, sorry. I'm like, I should probably be like explaining what that is. You could look over at your poster, you could look over at that shelf talker, and you can look over at those things and utilize those tools to your advantage. And that's really an amazing trick that I did way back in the day when I first started, because sometimes those words just slip away from you when you're talking to
Right.
your client and you're like, I know all the benefits, but I can't put them out. So yes, I love this that you guys support the not only the consumer, but you support like, the service provider in so many different levels. I love that you guys also have so many different products and more coming out, because that's really exciting to know too. Okay, so I think we have gone over everything that anybody needs to know, specifically about the red light blanket, specifically about Beam Wellness. Now, if anybody's listening and they're like, I am ready to buy today, I want to follow Beam Wellness, where can they check you guys out?
Oh, well, they can go directly to our website at www.beam-wellness.com, or they can follow us on Instagram. It's Beam with two M's and then wellness. And we're basically on any social media. So
Oh,
anywhere that they are on, we can find them.
that's awesome. And of course, you guys, I will put this in the show notes so you can just be easy and just click that link. Well, thank you so much, Gina.
Thank you, Heidi. It's been an absolute pleasure, and keep beaming.
I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or tip that you can use immediately. And my episodes come out weekly, so I'll see you in the next episode.